Thanks for listening to the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry, here to help educate, motivate, and put you on the right path to take control of your health through weekly discussions on topics in the medical field, public health arena, and in your community. And now your host, Dr. Barry.
Welcome to the Lunch and Learn podcast with Dr. Barry, and I am your host, Dr. Barry Pierre. I'm a board-certified internist. I'm a best-selling author, national speaker, and I'm also a program director for our internal medicine program. And first of all, I just want to kind of thank you for taking the time to listen to the podcast, taking the time for subscribing and listening to the intro podcast. I know a lot of people aren't used to hearing an intro podcast, but I wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of what made me start this podcast and what drives me to keep going, and what, first of all, and most importantly, I think, what will you get out of listening to this podcast on a weekly basis? So I initially started my Lunch and Learn series as a live video series that I did on my website on drpierresblog.com, and we eventually transitioned it over to Facebook, and we were doing this twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we had amazing topics that ranged from medical and community health issues, public health issues, and sometimes I had some personal topics that I felt that I needed to kind of get out there. The engine was there, and it got such a great response that one of the number one requests that I kept getting was, "Hey, Dr. Barry, I love the videos, but is it possible that we can possibly get maybe an audio version of it?" And I realized then that there was a lot of people that I was kind of leaving out when I was only doing the videos, because I also do blogging, and the blogs are great. But if you're not a blogger, or if you don't like to read blogs, if you don't have the time to read blogs, you're probably not going to listen to it. Same thing with the video. You may love the topic, but if you don't have time to sit there and watch a video for an extended period of time, and I could tell you I'm guilty of it. I sometimes don't have the time to sit here and watch videos for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes we've gone as long as 30 minutes. I'm going to probably move on to that next avenue as well. So this is how the Lunch and Learn podcast was born, and most importantly, what gave me that extra push was a great friend of mine, Stephen Francis, who said, "You know what? Why don't you just do a podcast version of it?" Like he was the final voice in my ear. And sometimes we all get that voice in the ear that finally says go, and don't worry about the technical issues of it, and don't worry about the fear of having a podcast on top of having live stream video, on top of having a blogging post. Just do it. So that's where it was born. So what I did is I took about 30 of my previously recorded podcasts, again, because we're up to, at the time of this recording, we were up to about episode 44, and I took about 30 of my best episodes and I turned them into a podcast format, and that's what you're going to hear. And reason why I want to emphasize that is that over the next 2 to 3 weeks, again, depends on when you listen to it, I'm actually going to be launching 2 episodes every single day until we kind of catch up and we're caught up with the live stream video. So we're releasing 3 episodes on day 1 of the podcast, and then every subsequent day after that, releasing 2 more new episodes for you guys' listening pleasure. And for some of you, if you're listening to it right in the beginning, then you'll be right in the thick of things. If you catch on later on and you're kind of going backwards to see, hey, what is this Lunch and Learn about? And now you'll kind of understand the plan. Because when I wanted to do this Lunch and Learn, the question that I always get from my patients was, I don't have time to talk with my physician. I don't have time to explain my diseases. I don't have time to learn what's going on with me. My doctor doesn't have time. He puts me in the room. He gets me out the room just as quick. Before I have time to even settle down and sit in my chair, I'm already out the door. And I did this because I wanted to, again, give some more detail on a lot of the common issues that, you guys are kind of going through on a day-to-day basis. And you guys are being forced to have to go to WebMD and Dr. Google and all these other sites to try to get information when the professional, your physician, should be the one talking to you. So that's where the Lunch Learn was born. And I think this is where you're going to get the most value from this podcast. And I'm excited. Again, if you guys have any feedback on the topics of the episodes, any feedbacks on some episodes that you would like to hear, like some medical topics, some community health topics, some public health topics that you would like to hear, let me know. And I'll make sure we get that to an episode. Because again, at the end of the day, this podcast, the video stream, the blog post, it's really all done for you. And my goal is to make sure that I continue to empower you, the listener, you, the reader, you, the video watcher, with as much knowledge as you can to make sound, healthy decisions for the rest of your life. So again, I talked about the frequency, a little bit about it. This is going to be a weekly podcast. When I initially started doing the live stream videos, I was doing it. But as I moved on and moved into the sphere of releasing a podcast, I didn't want to release 2 podcast episodes a week. So I decided, you know what, let's do just one live video stream, and then we'll release the audio version of it later on that week. So depending on when you're catching up to this episode, I'm going to be doing video. I'm doing the weekly podcast on a weekly basis, and it will go right in sync with the live stream. So if you weren't able to catch the live stream that week, you'll be able to catch it on podcast version later on that week. But for the beginning, we're having like a full blown party and saying like, hey, a celebration to saying, hey, we're here. And I'm going to be releasing 2 episodes every day until we catch up to the Lunch and Learn episodes on the current basis. So please stick with me. We're going to have a great time. This is going to be an amazing experience that I know your guys are going to get much value from, and I can't wait to continue to provide it. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to go to my website, drpierresblog.com, leave a comment, leave a question, and we will make sure we get back to you. Now, you guys have a great day, and thank you for allowing me to become one of your podcasts that you love to listen to. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry. If you want to find out more about the episode, please go to www.lunchlearnpod.com. That's www.lunchlearnpod.com for the show notes and any links that may have been mentioned in today's episode. If you're interested in joining the Lunch Learn Pod community, head over to either the website lunchlearnpod.com or join us on Facebook and Twitter with the same username, Lunch Learn Pod. And again, you can find all of these links on the website. If you have any questions, any comments, or any requests for topics to debut on the show, please let that be known. And don't forget to use the hashtag LunchLearnPod when you're listening to the episode. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to today's episode, and I'll see you next week.